Hello, my name is Doug Lazier, and I wanted to record this video to show you the latest version of my software for churches to use to help count and record their donations, as well as creating year-end receipts for their donors and monthly reports. It's been about 10 years ago that I actually created this software for our small church in Western Pennsylvania. Since then, I've given it to more than 900 churches around the world. If you are interested in a copy for your church after watching this video, check out the description below the video description, and you'll find my email address in there. Just send me an email message asking for a copy, and I'll gladly send a copy to you. When you receive it, and I'll send you an email, when you receive that email, I'm going to suggest that you create a folder on one of your local drives. Here we created a folder for the ABC Church. That's our sample church. And download out of the email, download the Excel file that I send you and the user guide. It's just a Word document. Once you get that, then the next thing we'll want to do is do some customization for your church. The customization's really simple and doesn't take very long to do it. I'm not covering all of the options in this video. I'll make another video later and go through all the nitty-gritty options, but I just want to today show you how simple it is to set it up and customize it for your church, and how easy it is to use for doing your weekly donations. So when you get it, one of the first things you'll probably want to do is go ahead and change the name. So let's do that. We'll just call it ABC Church. And we'll leave the word master here because that's where we will always start, in this master file, to do our record our donations. So we're just going to change the name, ABC Church Master. And now we'll want to open it up and do some customization. So let me just go ahead and open it up. Sorry, it went to my other screen. Let me drag that over here. Okay, if you get a warning like this, enable content because of the macros, VBA macros. What I've done is I've created a lot of macros, which is kind of like a simple programming language in Excel, to do the steps that you need to use this software, so that you do not have to know very much about Microsoft Excel at all. But because of that, we need the full version of Excel in order to use the software on a Mac or a PC. Because of these VBA macros, you can't use it on like an iPad or an iPhone. The macros do not run there. So go ahead and say that you want to enable the content. That's what allows my macros to run. And it's prompting for the donation date. What we want to do is just cancel here. We want to go a little bit further and go ahead and customize it for our church. Now, one of the first things we'll want to do is to tell it the names and donor numbers for our donors. A lot of churches use an envelope system, so they would have envelope numbers assigned to people. Other churches might use like a church management software, so you might have IDs already associated with people. If not, just make up some numbers, 1 through 99, that kind of an idea. Right, so I'm going to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and enter our donor numbers. Diana Tran, Natalie, Elena, Emmy, and then we're going to skip over to person or donor 100, which is just our anonymous, our loose offering, just money in the collection plate with no name associated with it. The other thing we want to do is put in, like if we have it, an address, an email address. Here's a pretty important thing. Do you want this person to get a receipt at the end of the year? Do we want to print a receipt? Yes or no? So in our case, everybody should get a receipt except for this loose offering. There's no sense in wasting paper and printing a receipt for the anonymous offering. We also give you the option to print a PDF file so that you can send it out as an email if you want to do that. The software doesn't automatically email. The code to do that is quite challenging. I don't have that working yet, but you can produce a PDF file and then go ahead and email it to them. For what we're doing today, I'll go ahead and just enter yes. All of these people should get a receipt except for the loose offering. Okay, so once you get your list of donors, now we go on to the next part, which is the parameters. A lot of different options for you to be able to customize this for your church. Let's just go through a few of the necessary ones. What is the name of your church address? On the annual receipts that you're making for your donors, what would you like to put there for the footer? And you have an optional header to put there as well. Like your name would go in here. Any information you want to put there about the church being tax exempt, those kinds of things. Okay. What else? On the monthly reports, a footer that you might want to put there, your name submitted by, that kind of a thing. Delete it if you don't want anything there. That's fine. Okay, it's also important for you to identify whether you are using a PC or a Macintosh. The Excel does behave differently, and there are differences between the two. So just which one are you using? And then I have a custom menu to launch the steps that we need to do while using the software. Again, so that you don't have to know how to use Excel. Very little you need to know about Excel, but we need some way to launch that. So on a PC, by default, that's going to be Control M. On a Macintosh, that'll be Command Option X, and the documentation that I send tells you how to make sure you have all of that set up correctly. One of the most important things we'll want to do when you first get it is to define what are the donation categories, the fund names that you use for your church, and how many. The software allows you to have up to 20 different categories. You sure don't have to use all of them, but just how many are you using, what are the names. So we'll just enter those. So in this sample case, we have the general fund, missions, building, benevolence, and so there's 4 of them that we're going to use. In addition to these 4, we will always have a category for those special offerings that we do randomly throughout the year. Okay, and then if you are working outside of the United States, you might have to change the currency, and there's a place to do that down here. Once you enter your parameters, and any time in the future that you change one of these parameters that have this pinkish color to it, you'll need to use my custom menu. Let me open that up here. Custom menu, option number 9. So the concept here is just as simple. We have up to 20 categories, but we're only using 4. So there are lots of rows and columns on every one of these worksheets that need to be hidden. I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to do the effort of hiding them. I have a menu item to do that work for us. Option number 9. So we'll just do that. Yes, we want to adjust all of these different worksheet tabs based on what we just changed in the parameters. And we'll let it go and make the changes, and now we can see that we're in pretty good shape here and ready to get started with our donation. Okay, now the only small thing I noticed is that the word benevolence doesn't quite fit. Okay, so here's where we need just a little bit of Excel knowledge, not much. The Excel files that I give you, there are hundreds and hundreds of cell formulas in there, and everything is locked or protected so that you can't accidentally break my special cell formulas. And there are only certain cells where you are allowed to make entries and change things, and those are always color coded in yellow where you do your entry. Everything else is protected. So if I want to make a change to anything here, I must first unprotect it, even as simple as making this column a little bit wider so the word benevolence fits. It's pretty simple to do. We just hit the review button, unprotect the sheet, and now we can make the simple Excel-like changes like formatting, or in this case just widening the column. And when we're done, we just protect the sheet again, leave the options that are there alone, hit the OK, and now we've made the change. Now you probably might need to do the same thing to some of the other tabs, but just that easy to do it. All right. At this point, we have customized it for our church, and now we're ready to do our first donation. What I'm going to do though is there's one last final step, and again, just a little bit of Excel knowledge. We just want to change this, save this Excel file. Because we've changed it, customize it, we want to now save it so that it is ready for your use. So you can either use the floppy disk icon up here, or if you prefer, you can go to File, Save. Either way, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to save that Excel file. It is now yours, customized for you, and ready for use. All right, if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and just shut it back down again, because this is where you'll start next Sunday. Church is over. We gather up our collection plates. We're ready to start our donation. So we come to this folder where we have our master. Again, we always start in the master. That's where we do our recording. We go ahead and launch it or open it up. And when we open it, the first thing it's going to do is prompt us with the donation date. Now this will fill in today's date, whatever day it is that you're using the software. So if you're doing your counting on Sunday, it'll have Sunday's date in there automatically. If not, then we just simply edit this. So let's say we are doing our February 5th donation in year 2023. So we just enter the donation date, hit the OK button, and we get a little reminder that says, hey, when you're all done doing your entry, just remember to bring up my custom menu by using Control M, and you'll use one of the steps in there to finish off everything that you've done. All right, so we are ready for our donation entry. Okay, so we grab our donation plate and we look in there and we see that we have an envelope from Natalie Stevenson. Natalie is donor number 2, so in the donor number column we put in the number 2. That's her donor number. The cell formula does a lookup, pulls back her name. Yep, Natalie's who gave the donation. And when we look inside, we see that there's 2 $5 bills. So in the cash column, we put in $10. That's what she gave. And then we come over here and we see that she wanted it distributed $5 in general and $5 in missions. Now you'll notice that when I put in the cash amount, that her name went red. That's because we have a donation, but we have not distributed correctly into our categories. That is, this row, until we enter it, is out of balance. Once we enter it, and if we enter it correctly, it's now in balance. $10 came in, distributed into $5 general, $5 mission. Why? Because it's important that we get it right before we go on to the next envelope. This is where we've historically run into problems where either we do a typo, right? I meant to type 5 and I hit 50. Everything's out of balance. We don't know it till we hit the end. Sometimes our donors do bad math in their head as they're writing out their envelope. It happens. So we just want to make sure everything's in balance before you go on to the next envelope. Okay, so now we pick up the next envelope, and it's Eliana McKenzie. She's donor number 3, and we see that she gave us a check for $100. And then you also have, optionally, you can put in her check number 1055. You don't have to do this, but some people like to record the check numbers. And then she said that she wanted us to put $50 in general, 25 in missions, and another 25 in building. Things are now in balance. The red went away. We're ready to move on to the next one. Okay, Emmy Shaw. She's donor number 4. And we see that Emmy gave us a $10 bill, but she also gave us a check for $50. not a problem. She gave us both. Not a problem. So you put those in. Oh, and her check number is 651. We'll enter that. And she said that she wanted $50 to go to general, but she wanted the $10 to go to a special offering that we're doing this week. So the $10 we put in special, and here we put the name of the special. So here we're just collecting for, I know it's February is not the right time for it, but let's say it's for our Vacation Bible School. So we just enter the name, or in this case the initials, and now we're ready to move on to the next one. All right, now we look in the plate and we see that there's some cash sitting there. It's a loose offering, right? Well, we see a $20 bill, a $10 bill, and 3 $1 bills. So person 100 is what we use for our loose offering. It's cash, and the cash is $33. And in our church, we just have a rule that all of the loose offering goes into the general fund. So that's the category we put it in. All right. Oh, wait, there's one more envelope. It's actually a second envelope from Eliana McKenzie. And so she gave us actually 2 envelopes on the same day. Not a problem. She's donor number 3. And she gave us a $20 bill and a $5 bill. So that's $25 in cash. And she wanted all of that to go to our special offering for Vacation Bible School. All right. Oh, and then we have one more thing. We actually have a new person, Dylan Snow, and he actually donated through Cash App. So we have this column EFT is what we use to enter donations that come in through an electronic fund transfer of some kind. Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, credit cards, direct bank deposits, all those kinds of things. But Dylan is a new donor, so we need to go over to our donor list and add a new person. So let's go ahead and just make him donor 101, Dylan Snow. And if we had his address, we'll put in. But we do, because it was online, we actually have his email address. So we'll enter that. And maybe we want to plan ahead for creating a PDF that we'll just email to him. Okay, so we just add him to the donor list, come back here, and now we're ready to put in donor 101, Dylan Snow, and that was a Venmo donation of $100, and he wanted that split evenly across our 4 categories. All right, it's just that simple. You just continue to work down through here, entering all of the envelopes, cash that you've received. And when it's all done, we're ready to go on to one more step. The information up here is who donated, how much they donated, whether it came in through cash or check or EFT, and what categories it goes into. The next part of it, again, pretty simple, is we want to do some checks and balances, some validation that we have recorded everything correctly as compared to the pile of cash and coins that we have compared to the pile of checks we have. And so we come down here, we just go down and we just start entering how many ones did you receive, right? How many $5 bills did you receive? Now, because we often have volunteers helping us, what we find is they don't all do a great job of counting the bills and come up with a total, right? Like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. People that work with money all the time can do it in their head and come up with the right answer. Sometimes our volunteers make a mistake and get that wrong. So we just go through a horrendously simple process that just says count up how many bills you have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have $5 bills. Let the software do the math to say that equals $25. So that's all we do. We just count them up. All right. And so what we see pretty simply is that when we count it, we have three $1 bills, we have 3 5s, we have 2 10s, and we have 2 20s. Now again, it's red over here to say that until we enter everything, the cash is not balanced. Once we enter the quantities, and if everything balances and matches, the red goes away and we are now in balance. Last thing we do is we come down here, the check detail. This is where we're just simply doing a similar process to make sure our stack of checks balance with what we entered above. We aren't entering check numbers, we're only entering check amounts, any order. And so we'll see that we had a $100 check and we had a $50 check. Just enter those, all the checks you have, and then when they are in balance, the red goes away. All right, real quick. This information we have right here, this is the information we need for our bank deposit right there. That's what we do on our bank deposit slip, right? And so I go to the bank, and if the teller doesn't come up with the same number I did, I just ask her, well, how many $5 bills do you have? 2? Well, that's not right. I know you have 3. Count them again. Just that's the idea there, that this is our bank deposit information. And then down a little bit lower, what we have is the information in total that was donated to our different categories for that day. And this is the stuff that will print out when you're done. So what we do, once everything is in balance, now we bring up my custom menu one more time, and then option number 1 is what we use to save our donation and to print this information. So the donation details at the top, our bank deposit information, and our summary by category down below. Option number 1. Are you really done? You're ready to save and print everything? Yes, we are done. Okay, so it gets ready to do all the work it's going to do. Do you want to print it? You know what? Today I don't actually have a printer connected, so I'm not going to print it, but you would typically print this on a regular basis. Okay, the master was updated and saved, as well as saving a copy of today's donation in this location. And this is the name of the copy that was saved for today's donation. And that's it. We're done with our first donation. So what you'll see then as you use this week after week after week is that we are building a list of all of our donations. And the information will be recorded here, and it will continue week after week, month after month, year after year. And as the information is entered here, that is what will be used to produce our receipts that we give to our people at the end of the year. And it will fill in, it will create a receipt for each one of our donors. We also have monthly reports, and as you are doing your donations, it will build this report of what has been given so far, month by month. And then we also have in here a 5-year comparison. Once you have multiple years under your belt, we'll be able to see how do our donations compare year over year over year. So, all right. That is what I wanted to cover today, to give you a high-level understanding of how it works, how easy it is to set it up, how easy it is to do your weekly donations. If you want a copy, check out my email address in the description below. Send me an email message and I'll be glad to send you a copy. Thanks.